Here we are once again in the Triple R Studios, Ray's Record Room, and the great man, and I really do mean the great man, Sugar Ray Nosty is right next to me. How are you, Shugs?
Oh, I'm so
Shugsy,
good, mate.
how's that?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
How's that?
I was ready for this one, which rang me at 9:30 this morning and said, I'll be here at 11:30. I'm going, what for? So I'm all ready. And
You're coming off the bench today, Ray. Coming off the bench. Down the far end, as always, Mike Big Roy Whitney. How are you, Roy?
Dawsy, lovely to be here, brother. Shugs,
Yeah, buddy.
were you not organised this morning?
You always look after me.
You've got too much on. He's always got too much on, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
love when the younger brother looks after the older brother.
I'm Andrew Dorsey Dawson. As we always do, we throw it to you for the intro for this very, very special guest, and what a unique person we've got on our hands today.
How's that?
Yeah, this started a couple of years ago, Dawes, when Junior Pierce, who we all play in the band with, the Oz Icons, give us a plug. Have we ever plugged the Oz Icons?
No, we don't do it very often.
Yeah. And he was asked, could we all get together and play at a charity ball, which was the Care Factor charity ball. So we played there the first year, fantastic. Raised a fair bit of money. Didn't really understand the charity, but they raise money and then they give that money to another charity of what they've decided. So we did the gig again last year, and it's a great gig. And Joyce and all the girls there, fantastic. And we met Cindy.
Cinderella Lorenzo.
That's it, Cindy Lorenz. Lorenz, no O on the end of it, Ray.
Sorry.
Why does he keep putting the O on it, Cindy? And we, after some conversation with Junior and stuff like that, and Dawsy, we started talking to you about childhood dementia. You're a carer, all of these things that a lot of people really don't know about. So we wanted to get you, Cindy, on the podcast to tell us the story, about childhood dementia, and all of these charities are generally involving children, aren't they? The money that the Care Factor charity gives to these specific charities are basically about ill children. So we love doing the charity, and I think we've just been booked to do it again next year.
Yes.
Yeah, because the food's really good, eh?
The food and the drinks.
And they look after us.
And after the main meal, everyone gets up and dances. It's the bewitching hour.
The band's the best.
Oh, thank you.
you.
That's great. We have a lovely night there, and everybody's lovely.
Yeah, thanks, Cindy.
And to think that we're making some little contribution to also help raise some money. So, enough from me. How did you get involved with Care Factor for a start?
Well, Joyce, who organises a lot for Care Factor, is my best friend. I've known Joyce since we were teenagers.
Okay.
Yep. So Joyce, and also because I'm a foster carer, and I have 3 children in my care, 2 full-time, long-term, and 1 that we do respite care for.
Cindy, have you got your own children?
Yes, I've got 3 adults.
They're all grown?
Yeah, they're all grown.
They're grown up, I mean. And now you've taken on 3 more as a carer.
Yes.
And how old are they and how long have you had them?
Okay, our beautiful darling who has childhood dementia is 22, and she's been with us for 16 years.
Wow.
Beautiful child, cheeky as, and she's just turned 18, and she has severe disabilities too, not childhood dementia, but a very big range of complex needs.
Born with those disabilities?
She was.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So did they know that they were going to have disabilities before they were actually born? Like, did the doctor say?
No, I think no.
No. Okay.
No.
Not in Syria, I suppose.
Yeah.
Did you say she's
Iraq? She's
Iraq?
Assyrian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Assyrian.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's from Iraq. They wouldn't have known back then, man. I don't know.
No. She was born here. She was born here.
Okay.
But I think it's just one of those things because one of her illness is cerebral palsy, and that can happen prior to birth. It can happen during birth. It can happen after. It's often a lack of oxygen. But anyway, that's just one of them. And then we have a little 3-year-old. I'm not going to name her. I shouldn't. Mm-hmm. And she is gorgeous, and we care for her. We're not her primary carers, but we do respite care for her kinship family.
Fantastic.
So
Because I need a bit of respite. So
Come over, Ray. Come over.
thanks. I'd love to be looked after you. Yeah.
We'll make room.
How old are your your children?
This is a good question because I always forget how old my son is, which is pretty funny. But he's 44. He'll be 45 soon in January. And then my daughter, that's David, and then I've got Christy. My daughter is, this is a good question,
45?
No. No, she's younger.
Okay.
41.
She's 40. Yeah, she's probably 42, I think. Yep. And then there's Samantha, and Samantha's 39. And Samantha is one of our carers. She cares for the kids with us.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't live with us, and because she's technically not related to them, she has her own business, being a carer, and she knows the ins and outs of all my kids, our kids' needs, and which is fantastic.
So how did you find out about being a foster carer?
I always wanted to do foster care, but I couldn't. I thought I couldn't because I was alone with my 3 kids, and I thought, well, that's going to be a bit hard, Anyway, so
Single mum?
Yeah, single mum, yeah. So I decided when they were grown, I would do it then. And so they were grown. I was living with my middle daughter at the time when we decided we both became foster carers. Anyway,
You both did? Wow.
Yeah, we both did, yeah. Anyway, since then she went on, got married, had kids, But of course she's back in my house now. So anyway, that's another story. Anyway, and so then, so I became a carer, and we did short-term care first, or emergency care rather, because we thought, we'll get used to this, because Christy. Anyway, so we took we had a couple of little boys at first, and they were gorgeous and very traumatised, and that was only for a month or so.
When you say traumatised, is that what they're physically abused or mental or what?
No, I don't know if I can
you can't
share.
talk
I can't
about
share
it,
the
no.
story,
okay.
but
I'll pay you. You're always looking for
How
a dollar.
Anyway,
But can I just say something? That you must come across, you can't talk about those boys. We understand that.
Yeah.
You must come across some things
yeah.
where you just go, mate, come on.
Yeah, all
this
the time.
is just
all foster carers
so disgraceful, the situation.
Yeah.
Whether that's abuse or
whatever it is.
Whatever it is. I mean, you've got to be shaking your head.
And sometimes you've got to look past it. And sometimes you've got to look past it and say, well, okay, maybe this is, in some certain situations, it'll be the parent's fault. But what happened to that parent?
Yeah.
What happened,
they'll have a history as well.
Yeah, you just can't blame everybody, but unfortunately it's the kids that suffer.
Once you started being a foster carer, is there any time, whether it was 6 months or a year or 2 years into it, where you thought, geez, this is...
what have I got myself into?
What have I done?
Yeah.
I think, too, when we first got because was our first long-term child.
This is
She's with us now. 16 years.
Right,
She's 22.
right.
She's beautiful. She's was born in China, and she has childhood dementia. She has Sanfilippo syndrome, which is a form of childhood dementia. There's over 100, probably nearly 150 genetic diseases that cause childhood dementia, and they just keep finding more and more. Sure. And yep, sorry.
Sure. Yeah.
If I can just interject quickly, did you know that childhood dementia was a thing?
No.
Because we had no idea when we did the charity.
No
Most
idea.
people didn't know it was a thing. In fact, none of the doctors did either.
Wow.
So we used to write notes and tell the doctor what her illness was, what was happening with her. So we had to learn, because none of the doctors
couldn't
knew.
really diagnose that. They didn't know.
Well,
at the
they
time.
did diagnose it. They did. They often weren't diagnosed till they were maybe 4, 5, or even older, because it can look like
something else,
other
right?
things.
Yeah.
It just looks, or global development delay, or all sorts of things. Sure. So they didn't get diagnosed straight away, and that's a very big problem, and that's what we're all pushing for now, to make sure.
But that's for everything, isn't it? Like my daughter's got
Yes.
HDMI.
Yes.
What's it called?
HDMI.
What is it?
ADHD.
Yeah. And that's only been diagnosed recently. Yeah. So
Ray, that's the plug that you plug your television in, is it? The
Yeah.
HDMI.
it's so much easier to say. Sorry.
How can we get a laugh out of such a subject that's so bizarre, and you come up with that? You're a legend.
But just before you go on, which is really important, you said you got
Yeah.
But did you have to jump hoops to get someone long term? Like who did
No.
Who do you go to? Does the government say here you are?
We were already foster carers with a foster care agency, and
so
they
by
were
agency,
an NGO, so private, not a government one. It wasn't like DCJ or Anyway, although all children come through DCJ.
But what hoops have you got to jump through
Oh,
to get
you
that
have to-
tick as a carer?
Oh yeah, you have to do
Correct.
lots of courses and lots
gotta
of
come
talks
to the house
and lots
and-
of. Oh, of course.
Yeah.
We're just about to have that done again to go with DCJ so we can care
So
for more
this is
babies.
railings in the toilets and
oh,
stairs and ramps and
Oh no, they all
everything.
came later. We just had to be safe enough. No, we had to organise all of that later because was walking and fine, not fine, but you wouldn't have known she had even a disability when we got her when she was 6.
Wow.
But it's
now-
neurodegenerative, and it's like dementia in older people. It's very sad. I mean, it's
So the older she gets, the worse she gets. There's no
there,
no
you know what?
recovery.
There is no treatment, which I feel is one of the hardest things we dealt with. Like there's lots of symptoms, lots
At
of
the
things.
moment, there's nothing. At the moment, because surely something will.
Oh no, there's still nothing. But
Can I
there's
make a
nothing.
statement why I think there's nothing? There's 1,000 in America that die every year, kids with it, 1,200 or something.
Yeah, there's
a couple
100 here,
and
100.
five-
no, more than
and
that. sorry,
500
here.
odd in England and
Yes,
whatever.
yeah,
So,
there's-
do you think that a pharmaceutical company is going to go and do research and tests and spend millions when there's no market for their drugs? If there was 5 million kids around the world with this, they'd be onto it straight away.
Great.
But the market is so small, they've got no one to sell the drugs
That's right.
to. They're not going to make any money.
Is he totally
He is
right?
correct.
What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think what it is can I just say when we started with
Please.
Sanfilippo syndrome, right? So that was but nobody talked about it as being a form of childhood dementia. It was just a neurodegenerative disease. That was it. Has this long list of symptoms, However, more years, we joined the MPS Society because it's a mucopolysaccharidosis disorder, and we met other families, but there was still a very limited amount of
She's good
people.
with these names. Wow.
You're great.
Unbelievable.
I only
Like,
know
we-
HDMI.
But, HDMI. I'm going to use that one next
Yeah,
time.
I'm going to use that next time I speak.
I might use it for everything from
Yeah.
now on. So basically, we learnt as we went, but then the doctors were learning as they went too. So that was that. I've kind of forgotten what you said to me then about
The market. There's not enough market for
the market. Yeah, that's
for them
correct.
to- yeah.
But Megan, who is the CEO of Megan Mack, she's the CEO of Childhood Dementia Initiative. She has 2 children with childhood dementia. Her only 2 children. And we met them many, many years ago at a barbecue when all our kids were little. You know, hers are much younger than mine. But anyway, so and that was just about Sanfilippo for us then. But then she went on to work and to bring all these, as they started to realise there's other childhood dementia, other diseases that cause childhood dementia, they brought them all together under the heading of Childhood Dementia Initiative, which I personally think is like a brainwave. It's brilliant. You know, there's strength in numbers. And you need the more. So now instead of being 100 children in Australia with Sanfilippo, there's, I actually don't know the numbers.
There'd
but
be a
hang on
huge
that one.
barbecue for that, wouldn't it?
There's that would be the big barbecue.
Big barbecue.
That's like big day out.
Yeah.
Sugar's is on fire today.
Sugar's
Come
on
off the
fire, mate. Absolutely.
2,900 babies are born. With around 1 in every 2,900 babies born with a condition that causes childhood dementia, and that would be yearly round.
So that's 1 in basically 3,000. 1 in every
Yes,
3,000
yeah.
babies have got a condition that will lead to childhood dementia.
Yes.
Where there's no cure, no medication.
There
and
is no treatment.
No treatment,
which
yeah.
is really bad because they suffer a lot. Then there is no cure, and it's 100% fatal. And it's
Around what age, Cindy? 20 odd, 25,
it's
30?
oh no.
Well before that.
No, well, 7, 9. We've been to a lot of funerals. Like people say at
so
my age,
young.
oh, you've been to lots of funerals, because you're getting older, and people start dropping off. And I go, no, they're all children's funerals that I go to, And it's really, really sad. And every time you go to one of these, you go, I wonder when my child's going to go. And you can't help that. That's just...
50% of children with dementia die by the age of 10. That's not fair.
No.
And then the others will...
Shocking.
And the others will live how long after that, if you live it right out? So maybe till 20 or something.
70% might live to 18. Most of them do not make it to adulthood. Most of them. Being 22 she's an absolute...
she's in the 1% club. Yeah.
She's like...
I must be the foster parent.
Oh, must be. You know what?
I'm coming for respite.
We keep it entertained every day. There's lots of singing and dancing in our house, and lots of this, and lots of everything that happens.
Can you get that on the camera?
Yeah. Well, at his age now, what's she like? How is she?
She is now complete. She lost all her mobility, her large and fine motor skills at the age of 18. She had a major seizure, and it took everything overnight, just the whole lot. Up to that point, she had been losing skills. She lost how to speak when she was about 8.
Wow.
Yeah. So everything you have to. She can't tell you she's in pain. Can't tell you.
That's my question next week.
That's always been my hardest thing. But the thing that upsets me the most, and I think most parents I've ever spoken to, they all go, they can't tell us, they're in pain.
Awful.
And the doctors will tell you that, most children with childhood dementia are in pain.
You know what?
So
I was at home this morning thinking about a couple of things, and I've just realised what I was thinking about this morning is absolute crap and shit compared to what I'm hearing coming out of your mouth.
Hey,
so
I think
why
those
would I
things
fair
too.
dinkum? What a joke. I've got nothing to worry about when
No.
listening to these stories. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, they say too, with carers, it's obviously probably the biggest toll is on the carers. So how do you, over the years, now how do you deal with that mentally? Because I will say when we first met you on the Care Factor ball this year, and I think Ray and I were talking to you, and the energy that comes out of you, positivity, I was just standing there looking at you going, who is this person?
I was exhausted. I'm going, Dawsey, I can't. I'm bugging,
You need to
mate.
sit down.
It's harder than doing the 3 sets that we have to do.
But it does, like you hit me as this kind of, like someone, I'm not trying to blow smoke up the, but it's like you, I think people like you are a one in a million because your energy was I just couldn't believe it.
Living angels.
No, you know
Living
what?
angels,
we hear
mate.
this,
Come on.
and we do hear this a lot, but we don't feel that way. It's like,
Of course you don't, because
and even though also I know that they are not our biological children, and in a lot of cases they are.
To me, that
people's
even makes
biological
it
They do.
bigger.
It
But
becomes that, yeah.
it's
But
bigger
you know
that
what?
they're not your children. You're loving and looking after them like they are.
I think I can tell you when
It
I
is. It
first
is.
saw the very first photo I ever saw of she was, 6. She had this wild hair that was out, this massive hair, and she was wild and woolly, and she did that. She was a little petite Asian child, Asian descent child. She was so cute. Anyway, and then she was wearing a tracksuit with a tutu over it, and she was holding baseball bats in her hand.
It's like a movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was like, I looked at her and I went, that's my kid.
Superhero. Really?
It's like,
That's fantastic.
I knew she was my kid as soon as I saw that photo. And then I read the long list of what's going to happen to her. And that was pretty devastating. And I think in your mind, you think, I don't think you can quite really fathom that all will really happen. Do you know what I mean? Until you start living it. And then in the early days, it was very difficult for us because even now there's a lot more information. There was none. Nobody knew anything. We just kept going to the doctors trying to ask them for stuff. Oh, she looks good. Yeah, okay, she looks good, but there's all these things.
Yeah.
It was just devastating. And for a professional, for a professional to tell you, you know more about her illness than we do. You live with her. You're her mother. And I'm like, that's terrifying because this is a fatal disorder. There are no survivors to childhood dementia.
Yeah, I'm
None.
just reading here,
Whether you're a baby and you die of it or whether you get to 25.
Because I think I've got some of these things. Memory loss, confusion, trouble concentrating.
Tick, tick, tick.
Don't you laugh, Dawsey. You've got those
Got
there
it too. I'm
too.
getting it too.
We've all got it.
No, it's okay.
But just
I definitely have it.
just back to the night we met you, and I think
Billy just choked on that drink. Thanks very much.
just on that night we met you at the charity ball as well, you sort of made a point of saying that this was your only night out for the year. So I'll ask you again, like, how do you have time away at all, like from the children, or you're there?
We don't, but it's our choice. We can have respite. For a while there, we used to take and go to and take our other child too before we got the third one. We used to go to Bear Cottage because she has she can go to Bear Cottage because unfortunately has fatal disorder. Yeah. And that was beautiful times. That's the most magnificent place on earth, Bear Cottage. And I was terrified to go at first. I wouldn't fill out the paperwork because to me it was like she was going there to die, and I didn't want her to die.
Oh, I thought you didn't know how to fill it in.
Well, that too. But in my head, I couldn't help associating it with death, and it took me I know it's wrong. It took me a long time, and so I. Eventually we did it, and it was the most wonderful place on earth. It's like, I've not been to Disneyland, but I reckon it's like Disneyland because everybody cares about you. Everybody cares about everybody there. They're all trained nurses. They're all professionals. They're all fun. And there's so much love in that place.
Sure.
And it makes you feel safe, and so you can stay in a little flat downstairs and they'll keep your child on the ward upstairs, which is very much like a home, though, not like a hospital ward, because these kids do spend a lot of time in hospital. And that's another reason, something just thought of, that's why nobody can work. It's hard to work when you've got these kids because they spend lots of time in hospital. You have to be with them. They don't have nurses and people to stay with your child. When you've got a 7-year-old that is hyperactive and paces 24-hour days, sleeps from 6 a.m. to 20 minutes past 6 every morning, that's the time she slept.
So this is the big question that I've wanted to ask you. What support do you get from the government, the NDIS, all of this?
There is.
Because you just said support. You can't work.
No, we can't. Well,
You're
both my partner and I had
kids.
Businesses, and I also had a job, and I had a little business on the side, and then he was a specialised plumber, so he could have made
heaps of money, eh?
Well, he could have made his, but that didn't happen because it got too much.
So he's a carer too?
Yes.
Are you both in?
Yeah, because the thing is, you can't be up all night with a child. We used to take turns sleeping, but we used to go, you sleep tonight, I'll sleep tomorrow night. You sleep tonight, I'll sleep tomorrow night. And she was a danger to herself. You know what I mean?
Watching us, we're just shaking our heads every time you make these statements.
Everyone needs to hear all this. That's really good.
But this is what these kids are like. And I mean, obviously all the different diseases, childhood dementia diseases, there'll be different symptoms and different, repercussions and different whatever. But particularly in San Filippo, that's what it was like.
Cindy, get back to who's supporting you.
Well,
you can't run.
You can get a carer pension, but that all depends on. It also depends on. At first, we couldn't get it. Oh, we had
too many assets or whatever.
No. We've got a mortgage. We don't have all these lovely assets.
So why couldn't you get the carer's pension? You're a carer.
Well, we did, but we were being paid an allowance for foster care, which wasn't a lot of money, but I mean, we were grateful. But and then what happened one day was Centrelink decided that we couldn't have that pension because we were getting this other money. But it's because we were through an NGO, I think. It was a little bit different. I still don't really know why. All the other carers could have it that were with DCJ. So anyway, so that happened. So then they tried to pull the plug on that. And that was the first time I really fought. And I got on the phone and I said to this lady...
Were you mad?
Oh, really had
my head explodes.
Good.
I'm like...
I was really
like a volcano.
pissed off.
Yeah.
You will swear for you on the podcast.
And it's. I said to this lady, well, you know what? I've spent the last 6 months trying to get some funding or some kind of allowance or something for the second child that's come into my care, but they told me that she wasn't in my care. And I said, how is that? Well, legally, she's not in your care because... but her parents had legal responsibility for her. And I went... Yeah, but she's in my house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they went, no, it's... And so I said to her, okay, let's make this simple. Let's not go through all of this crap. Tell me what is your guidelines. What is your definition of care? And this was essentially their definition of care was legal responsibility. And I said, well, that's not right.
Yeah, because I'm not a lawyer.
I said, no.
So hang on, because they were saying you weren't legally responsible.
Yeah, because I couldn't sign off on everything for that child.
To do that.
Yeah. Then
she's not in your care, yet she's in your house living
Yeah.
there 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Huh.
And so...
But that's what they've got to do.
That was one of the things we had to argue. I fought that anyway in the
That's
end.
no
I said to the
argument.
lady, I've spent 6 months...
How's that an argument?
I'd spent 6 months trying to get this payment. I couldn't even get her a healthcare card. I couldn't get her anything. It was like she didn't exist. And this happens a lot to carers. Anyway, so I did that. And, you know, fight. And I said to this woman, I said, well, you know what? They were telling us we had to pay back all this money. And I said... I don't owe you any money. I've never lied to you. I've never given you misinformation. I have never done any of that. Somebody in your office may have messed something up, but I have never done anything wrong. I said, so I don't believe I owe you anything. Anyway, and then I said...
They wanted you to pay money back?
Yeah, they wanted us to pay like $15,000 back.
No.
Really? I need money from them.
Yeah,
How does this happen? On
You're
one
going to get
side,
that next year.
On one
this
side...
year.
On one side, there's people like you, Cindy, trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They make it really tough. On the other side, there's people ripping off
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
NDIS, Social Security,
Yeah.
Social
I
Service,
know.
ripping off
I know.
big time.
Yes.
And then they can't see that people like Cindy are out there trying to do the right thing by society and community and these lovely human beings that have no one else to care
It's
for.
not red tape, is it? It's black tape.
It's
isn't it?
bullshit, Ray.
Oh,
Yeah,
bullshit case.
that is
Absolute
what it is.
rubbish.
Yeah.
Disgraceful.
If you have a child with, and even just a child with a disability especially, you will fight for everything.
Disgraceful,
And every
Cindy.
single piece of equipment that they may need
Yes.
will be tripled or quadrupled when you've got to buy it via NDIA because that's what the companies... I actually wrote something
Yeah,
about this.
No.
Just go, no.
It's more expensive from the NDIS
You
than
have to
buying
keep-
it from the
yeah.
company.
No. There should be caps put on costs of equipment, works, products to stop companies price gouging which choose through our children's funding. So they might get great funding, but everything costs 4 or 5 times more now.
Yeah.
Do you know
Which,
what I mean?
you're okay? You got your...
Mate,
And
I'm
yet-
just listening
He's
to
walking
this.
out.
And
He's
yet
at it.
now-
I'm just disgusted
and now,
in some of the
yes,
things I'm hearing.
With the NDIS, we are grateful to have NDIS funding because there's a lot of things our girls wouldn't have
Yes.
if we did not have it. So it was great, but we had to fight for that too because our girls were voluntary out of home care, meaning that, you know, they weren't taken away from out of their family. They weren't under the care of the minister is what that meant. So they're under still
No, very
legal
important.
responsibility.
Yeah,
legal
mate,
responsibility.
Very important.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what happened was our whole life with them, we had to fight for everything for them because they just expected the parents should pay everything. And the parents weren't necessarily in a position to pay everything just because they hadn't coped.
But this is why I asked you right at the start, are these people told before they have the child that they're going to have difficulties through life? Because a lot of people think, well, hang on, they knew that, but then they want the government to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know, help.
No,
They want help.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
so. But,
But
you know
that's
what?
that's
Even
why I
if-
asked that question.
I think even if they know it's your child, it's,
Oh,
you know...
you're fighting for
like,
everything, aren't
it's
you?
your
Yeah.
child. No matter what, you're going to fight for them. I mean, they're our children. We feel
that's true. But I'm just saying how
we have built
people look at-
relationships with 3 families now, and we're like one big extended family because we want our girls to know that we all love each other and we're all here for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
sorry.
So the money, no, don't say sorry. You can talk as much as you
I'll
want.
say it, sorry.
I was just. You're always
It
sorry,
means
Ray.
more coming from you, Ray.
On the money that was raised from the Care Factor ball, how
Yes.
did that help the
Childhood dementia?
Where did that money go? How did that help?
I don't actually work with the Childhood Dementia Initiative, so I don't know,
Yeah.
but it would have gone into things like clinical trials,
Yes.
things like that. Like, do you know it costs millions for one clinical trial, and all of this is parent powered. Everything in the last 16 years has been parent powered because there's no funding. I think the government recently in the last few years, and probably only since Childhood Dementia Initiative became a big thing, excuse me, was that there was any funding from the government at all. I had to fight to get a simple little amount of money to keep help keep the children in our care when the NDIS came in, because they said, well, they were funded by ADIC, who was the funding body for them at the time, and when NDIS came in, it overtook ADIC, right? It replaced
ADIC
them.
is?
ADIC is aged and disability home care, but they were paying they were funding our children because they were voluntary, right? So they were funding them. But ADDIC themselves didn't know they were funding them, because when I spoke to them, when the money just disappeared like that, gone, all gone, nothing, no money.
Sounds like a bowling club.
The CEO resigned and went with a week later the bank accounts are empty. Yeah.
Or a building. Go on.
No money for anything, not even for their case management, which meant then at the time it was two children in our very, very vulnerable children in our care with no government body, anybody overseeing them. And I tried to tell everybody this was happening and nobody believed me. So in the end, I spoke to FACS. It was FACS at the time, told them, do I have to drop my children up to you? Are they in a danger? Lucky I'm not an axe murderer. I said all these things. And he wouldn't, it wasn't until I threatened to put the children on their doorstep, which I would never have done, that he actually found somebody in FACS to talk to me. And I said, this is not good enough, because that office just closed. There was nobody. There was no one anymore. And there was no funding for our kids. And then the NDIA told me to give them back. Just give those kids back to the agency you foster through.
And then what would happen then to them?
No.
What's going to...
No.
Yes. They tried to reinstate all the children, which mostly voluntary out-of-home care children have disability, and that's why the parents aren't coping, right? So that's usually, probably not 100%, but usually. And so they tried to reinstate them in their families with help, like the money funding help. But that's not necessarily just about that. Some people can't do it. There might be a million reasons. And I hear the same story from every parent that's ever had to put their child into care. It's all the same story. I couldn't cope. My relationship was falling apart. My family was falling apart. Blah, blah, blah. And some people are stronger than others. And I can't judge them for that. I just think, well, you did the right thing because you gave them to me and I love them. Yeah. They love them too. We built relationships with these families.
And you do. And I know, because I got first hand, because my brother-in-law and his wife, they were foster parents.
Yeah.
And they'd let us look after the kids if they were going out,
Yeah, yeah.
And it became part of the family. Do you know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's just
wonderful.
My kids all love, our other kids. I'm just not going to constantly mention names, but our other kids just like their own sisters, their own family. They love them to bits. And I said to them, when I'm gone, you have to look after them. And that's something I always think. I spent years, that's the other thing you were asking about, how do you cope with it? Anticipatory grief. You grieve every single day of your life. I'm
What did
not
you
kidding.
call it?
Anticipatory grief. So it's ongoing.
All the time.
It's
never,
there.
never,
It never
never
leaves your
stops.
mind that your child is dying. And the other thing is, and they can't tell you because they don't know, is she going to die when she's 7? Is she going to die when she's 10? Is she going to die when she's 20? You don't know. Okay, this is blunt.
You know she's
going to
die,
now.
but you don't know when.
Yeah, I'm
That's
going to
it.
be really blunt now, and I know other parents will be fine with that. I could go home today and Jessie might not be there. And that's why I don't leave, mostly.
Yeah.
Because I can't bear the thought of being the one time I went away. She
And you
went
lost
away.
it, yeah.
Well, just back to the Bear Cottage thing. So when you had your own little unit there, for how many days were you there for?
We used to go for about a week because we had to
Okay.
pack up a van twice to get up there with all our kids and their equipment.
So when you were there in that room,
You need a bigger van.
but when you were in that room by yourself and you had some time to yourself, what did you do with yourself? Did you
It's
read
very
or?
weird. It's very weird. You're kind of like, I don't know what to do. But my partner Garrett, well, the funny thing was with Garrett, you know what he did? He was up on the main floor because he's never leaving her side.
Wow.
It's like Dad and Dave. They even used to sit on the lounge the same with their hand down just in the top of their pants like that. Like Dad and Dave.
Al Bundy.
Except
No, Ray Nasty.
Shugsy.
Except that Jessie did it because her arm used to flap and she couldn't stop it.
so wax.
So she'd copy in.
Hilarious.
But I've got photos of that and I go, that's like my favourite photos. But, she is the most glorious child. Yeah. she's beautiful inside out. All these kids are. And you know what? They're our heroes. They are so courageous. You don't hear much whinging. They're in pain. The only thing is they don't know how to tell you they're in pain. They can't do it. Yeah. They can't tell you this is hurting, but it's hurting.
Yeah. Well, it's and like again, you're an amazing person because then I've asked you a few times already. What did you about you? But everything is about the kid. Everything is about.
I'm aware of that too. I've been waiting for you, trying to get it out of Cindy in a number of questions.
But it's you can see, and that's was I think the first time we met you. That energy is that you just like. Yeah, the way you think about other people.
Cindy, I want to go back to the funding.
Yeah, the funding.
The NDIS. Where is it now? Because we've just had a massive review. Bill Shorten's done a massive review.
Yes.
And Bill reckons that he's found all the dudes who are ripping the joint off.
Well, he may have. I have no idea. But I'm sure that as in any system, where the big rip-off bits happen, is in big major companies or big big service providers maybe or something. I don't know. I'm not blaming anyone. Bowling clubs,
Where's the nearest bowling club to here, Ray? What is it?
There used to be a few. They're gone.
But I would say
I can't believe but you're telling me that people who sell products to the NDIS to pass them on are price gouging.
Yeah, of course they are. Like, okay, I'll give you an example.
Mate, this is the NDIS. This is to help people who are sick and ill. Yeah. And they're price gouging with the products.
Yeah, you know what? Because the government's paying for it.
I hope you feel really, really bad about yourself. Yeah. I hope you can't sleep tonight. And I hope the profit on the bottom line of your company goes down for doing that.
Who's NDIS?
NDIS.
National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Yeah.
Thank you. But again, what was that? What are they called?
National Disability Insurance Scheme.
But they're not. They're the ones handing the money out.
That's right.
But the thing is with that is that this is another thing that we are trying to fight for at the moment. I've brought this for you, the State of Childhood Dementia, and I've got a few more copies coming. The 24 report. Parents helped to write the foreword in this. We all put a bit in, and it's. The thing with NDIS is that the little people are the ones, and I think it's the same with any system, they're the ones that get hurt. It's the clients are the ones that are punished because somebody else is knocking off money somewhere. And that is very obvious with these. There's no caps on the costs. There's no, all those sort of things. And like here, they're trying to get rid of support coordination now. Now, support coordination is like we have support coordinators. I'd love to mention their name. But I don't know if I'm allowed. Am I allowed
we
to?
can. Yeah,
we can.
Marley and Mo's support coordinators are the most amazing people I've ever come across in my life.
Fantastic.
They saved us when I wrote to Julie Adams and said, well, all the funding stopped for my children and they've just been left with us and nothing. And there's no avenue for me. Not just there's no funding coming in. There's also nothing. Nothing. No overseeing. Yeah. And she came to my house, and she's a office manager, something I can't think, manager for Scott Morrison. And this was before he became Prime Minister, just before. And it was when the NDIS was coming in, and so our kids just got left out of everything because no one knew they existed. So one hand doesn't talk to the other. You didn't know, Ray, and you know what? Communication.
No, I knew nothing about childhood dementia.
Communication, I found, is the biggest problem in all of these systems. No, the left hand doesn't talk to the right.
I was just going to say.
Nobody tells anybody
in the NDIS, does the left hand know what the right hand's doing? No.
Okay, can I tell you what happened? So they're trying to get rid of support coordination now, or they're wanting to make them work. They'll come and be in-house with the NDIS, and I feel like, well, that's going to be a conflict of interest. Is that really going to work? But the thing is, these coordinators, they came in, and Gemma Grunzel-Kerr is the managing director. She's the director of this company. She started it. Everybody that works for her has some...
A really nice car.
No, I don't think so.
Sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay.
They have worked from the ground up.
Oh,
they've either got relatives that have a disability.
Yeah, the good guys.
They've worked as carers. They've worked as whatever before they became support coordinators. And this is genius because when you ask them, we need a piece of equipment for our child, they know why you need that piece of equipment.
Yep.
And that's what you need them to do.
Yes.
And they know everything about everything. They know everything about the NDIS, so they can help you and explain things to you and actually do it for you. Because can you imagine with 3 kids in your house, or even just when we've got the 2, it's full on.
Yeah. Well, with the NDIS, and I suppose it's like any government scheme, like the Pink Bat scheme
Yeah.
years ago, where people just think, I can make some money here. Right, but you would think that there'd be an overseer, that the companies that are supplying the products, the overseer goes, hang on, you've got it for sale here to the public for X price.
Thank you, Dawes.
You're not, sorry, we're going to pay that for it. But it's probably so big and bloated, and there's not enough people to. But that should be, again, you're saying that the client should be the one looked after, but the client is the one getting screwed.
The NDIS are probably spending millions more on that equipment, which could go into carers and help and all that.
And
I bet you they're spending millions more on admin and
absolutely, bureaucrats
and bureaucrats and making
Look, I agree. Everybody here
It explodes.
and everybody I know would say the NDIS was a wonderful idea to help all of those people.
Yeah.
But the red tape and the bullshit, what we've heard from you alone today, and you're not in it to scam them, you just want to help these kids out.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
We want them to have the things.
It shouldn't be hard for you. Like, what are they looking for?
You know what
like you said, I'm not an axe murderer. I'm just trying to care for these kids.
But do you know what is a really big problem, especially with the children with childhood dementia, is that nobody understands the disease enough. Now, she used to walk. It was her favourite thing. She used to pace, which was quite stressful for everybody. She did it for years, all day long, back, forth. But walking was her thing, right? And then she calmed down. Like, we eventually saw a psychiatrist. He gave her a medication that opened up her world because she was trapped inside another medication to help something. And then suddenly she looked at me in the first time. She'd been with us for 4 years. She never looked me in the eye. She didn't show you love, didn't do any of those things because she didn't know how to. She was trapped. Anyway, then she was out there and she was gorgeous and we used to play chasings around the house and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, walking is her most favourite thing, right? So that's what she did all the time. Anyway, after this big seizure, she lost her ability to walk. She couldn't use her arms. She lost a lot of things. Anyway, so we, Garrett and carers we have 4 amazing carers that we've known for many years, all of them, and some are nurses, some are not, some are trained in this, that, the other and everything, but they all love our kids just like we do, and they will do anything for them, and this is why we feel we can do more, because we've got this great support system in our house, Anyway, and it's rare. It's hard to get it, It's like building a team of doctors, making sure you get all the right specialists for your child, But anyway, so then... what have I done? I've forgotten again.
No, it's all right. I'm just. I
want to know
about her walking. So what they did was, our physio came in. We got a great team of allied health. There's so many people.
No wonder you need heaps of money.
Yeah, our children have about 10 doctors each, different, because everything is affected. Their bodies are affected by. Every single part of the body.
Just a quick question. Is the medication that they're on would differ, but is it really heavy stuff? Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Antipsychotics?
Does it?
Yeah, I reckon. If you've got dementia.
Some of it is antipsychotics, yes. Yeah. But then now they do the restrictive practice thing and they're telling you because once they come out of paediatric, because both my old ones are now technically adults.
Yep.
And then you go into you've got to fill out 50,000 forms, more than what you used
they're adults
to.
Now, not
and
kids.
And it's like, and this is we got geneticists to fill out all the NDIS, their own forms about medications to say that they are not a restrictive practice. They're not being used for, like, her medication is to stop her from being so anxious, and because she used to scream. She would scream every 7 or 8 minutes right throughout the night. And when I say scream, people down the street would hear her and say, "Oh, Jessie was going last night." And you jump every 5 minutes. You just jump up and go and try and calm her. And the look on her face was total fear.
Just horror.
It's fear.
Wow.
And you go, you're exhausted, but at the same time, you're looking at your child going, if this is this hard on me, imagine what it's like on her.
Yeah, that's what gets you going.
It's
Just
horrible.
put that axe down. You're freaking everyone out. Jeez.
So that medication can stop that, finish that.
It can help to control it. It helps to control it. And there's all different stages.
But is there side
dementia
effects to the meds as well?
No, they might get a bit sleepy sometimes, but it does not put them to sleep. It just settles there. They work like mood stabilisers but there's all sorts of, like Jessie has lists of medications like this. And we do often get them checked to make sure
that they're right.
And we do those sort of things. And we also take lists of everything each time we go to a doctor to say, okay, this is what she's on before you give it up.
But who pays for the meds?
Well,
is that part of the NDIS too?
No. Health is health. NDIS is only disability.
So who pays for the meds?
Parents, or we do. Like the parents pay for them, but and our parents have in a child that was in out of home care. I don't know the carer. Maybe there must be something for them. I don't know, but our parents always paid for their meds, which was great. Anyway. And then the other thing is that all their meds are on it's on the PBS or whatever. PBS, because some of their meds are a few $100s each. Each medicine.
You can get them cheap.
Yeah. But it's a lot. It's a lot. But there's just so many different things, different areas.
Is it just levels and levels
And we started off with, I'd never had a sick child. When I first took, and then you're like, and so to answer your question, yes, at one stage there, I thought, what have I done, but it was only fleeting because I also couldn't imagine not having Jessie. Do you know what I mean? And then it just grown and grown. And the first thing I thought when I became a foster carer was, can I really, really love another child as much as my own children? It actually crossed my mind. Can I do that? And I was a bit worried that I wouldn't be able, I would care and do the right things, but could I really love them? Oh, mate, you just love them to bits.
What about your other biological children? When they first found out you were going to foster, what were their thoughts on that? Were they all for it, or they were?
Well, the youngest and the oldest one said to me, "Thank God, Mum. You're just going to get off it. You won't be ringing us to see what we're doing and what's happening." And,
Mum's out of
it. She's out of it. Got rid of her finally. And they were like, "Yeah, we figured you just needed some kids. That's good." And then the middle one, Christy was living with me, so she became a carer too. You know, so funny. And then since then, Christy's back with us now, and my two grandsons, because unfortunately their father died suddenly. And this was 5 years ago now, and so we just had to move them straight out of their house and into ours. And everybody's sleeping in the lounge room at one stage. We have a very small house.
How old were those kids when their dad died?
7 and 8, yes. and they found him.
Oh,
so we have a lot of trauma, a lot of PTSD, but we've learnt to deal with all of that.
You have to.
Just have to.
No way out.
And I think also the fact that they had to sleep in our lounge room for 8 months before we got them a house in the backyard, kind of thing, you know.
It's like camping, a bit exciting. Sleeping in Nan's lounge.
I think we actually made them a bedroom and put bunks up and put cupboards, and they got the good TV, and I went, but anyway, but we did that, and I think that made them feel safe and secure, because these little boys.
Yeah.
And then we had to tell them exactly what happened.
And how old are they now?
Going on 13 and 14.
Yeah, see, that's probably a movie they won't be able to get out of their head for a long time.
I don't think if ever. And you know what? I said to the cops, I needed to get something out of one of the child's bedrooms, and I said, can I just go in and get some clothing or something, because we were just going and detectives were there and everything. Anyway, and I just said, they said to me, you know what? This lady cop looked at me. They were lovely, by the way. They were awesome. And they said to me, if I were you, I'd go to Kmart And I went, yep, got it.
Yeah.
And so never went anywhere there because I didn't want to see anything I didn't need to see. And the thing is, they did. You know, and my daughter, and, you know.
Yeah,
very hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, very hard. And you know, I have, and the younger one has ADHD and a few different, bit of autism, and so I think he's saved a little bit by that, like emotionally kind of through that. Yeah. And the older one, he does remote learning now from his bedroom and doesn't come out very much. Yeah.
So and it also be a unique thing for them living in a house with three other people who have, or three people who have dementia as well. So they're seeing a side of things and seeing how you are with them as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing is, kind of the beauty of it was that my grandkids have grown up, yes, living with our fostered children who have disabilities, severe disabilities, and they're all different disabilities, but they understand disability. They get it. When they first came, they didn't. They were only tiny little boys and they didn't understand why the girls couldn't talk and why they didn't do this, that, and the
100%.
other. But, of course, they grew up with it, and that's great because then they go on to their future knowing that this is the world. Everybody's different. Yeah,
it's like Down syndrome. We had Down syndrome and the kids were all, what's this?
Oh, yeah,
and then they grew up with it and it's fine.
Down syndrome children are the most beautiful
How strong
kids.
are they?
Oh, amazingly physically strong.
Really strong.
And just...
They're just great.
And can be genius in an area.
Yeah.
Might be Down syndrome, but might remember every album of every band and the dates when they were released.
Kids with autism
the
do
number
that.
one.
That's
the
autism. Yeah.
Mate, we've got a guy connected with our cricket club.
Fantastic.
A little bit older than me, and you've only got to say this. I won't mention any names. I'll call him Fred. Fred, what was the number one single in August 1976 on the top 40 in Australia? It'll go like this. 76, 76, 76, widow, 76, 76.
It was Coal Woman by the Hollies in the long dress.
He'll come out with it, and then someone will check it. He's never wrong. Never.
It's amazing.
Rain Man.
He's like a Rain Man. With songs in top 40, he can sing every song with every word. He'll go like this sometimes. He calls me Mr. This is a cricket club, and I'm the president. Mr. President? I go, yes. Fred. He goes, do you remember this song? And he'll just sing this whole song. Perfect. Not really in key, but perfect. All the words.
Oh, I couldn't stand it.
I go, mate, yeah, I do.
I couldn't even let it at all.
Yeah, but you're a musician, I'm not. Oh. He's just unbelievable. A genius on that level. Remarkable. And he's also been a scorer, a cricket scorer.
Oh, wow.
And never misses a bye, a run. Just so on those...
You know why? Because they're totally focused.
Totally focused.
Oh. Can your kids speak? Can they?
No.
Okay, so how do you communicate? What's the best way?
Over the years, we just...
Sign language?
Oh, no, we used to use Makaton signing.
Charades?
Probably more charades. Yeah. But, Makaton signing, you know, like this is thank you and this is school and like all of these sort of things. But I don't know that Jessie... They told us Jessie could never learn. She won't learn new things. And this was from the age of 6. Right. She won't learn new things.
Would you contest that now?
I think she did learn some things, but not many. Yeah. And I have to say, it's about maintaining the skills. And that we did. They said that to us, and I never forgot those words, and neither did Garrett. And this is why, even like after she had that major seizure, he had her back up and trying to walk her again because that's what was going to keep her alive. We were very, very lucky to get it's called a therapy cycle, motor movie. I can't think now. Anyway, therapy cycle, and it was NDIS wouldn't pay for it. Because they're an insurance scheme. Anyway, and so this is another one of these problems.
Get that. Why wouldn't the NDIS pay for that?
Because they just see it as like a cycle. You could go to they told us that she could go to the gym and she could go on the cycles at the gym. Well, she couldn't. I took her to the cerebral palsy gym.
How's she going to walk down to the gym? Yeah, you've got to take her to the gym.
Yeah, but even so, she can't sit on a cycle. She can't. We tried to get her
crawl?
own one. And no.
Nothing.
She can't do anything. She's like a 3 or 4 month old baby now. She's like a little baby. But
how can they not? How can they not recognise that, Cindy? How can they not recognise the NDIS? This is where the red tape bullshit.
I had a manager.
Really upsets me.
A manager at the NDIS called us in for a meeting, said, This is way back in the beginning. Don't bring Jessie with you. This is before we had.
Yeah, because he didn't want to see her and be embarrassed. That's why.
It's like it was a she actually, and she said, "Come in, don't bring her. We don't need her." Anyway, and then she said, "Okay, I'd spent 6 months prior to NDIS coming, doing documents for both our girls, so that there was every bit of information they could possibly need to know about them in these documents. Anyway, and on the front page, it really painted the picture of their abilities, right, or disabilities. Anyway, and this woman's got it in front of her. The planner's sitting there, and she said, "Oh, you and this," and I said, "Yes," and we're writing. And then she said to me, the planner said, "Oh, you've written here." Oh, no, I told them about she was doing that screaming that I was saying. That was a new thing, and it goes for 5 hours at a time. Like, she's exhausted. She's just physically exhausted at the end of it.
She must have strong screaming vocal cords.
She did then.
Really?
Yeah.
And then she spent
she spent a couple of years, never spoke, nothing, not a noise out of her.
Because she screamed for 5 hours.
Yes.
Because you'd get hoarse, wouldn't you?
But I tell you what, she did. She didn't. There was no noise. It's strange, the things that happen to these kids. And then you're just constantly working things out.
No noise at all.
Nothing. She didn't make any noise.
Went from screaming for 5 hours
to nothing. She didn't do any
noises. For how
noises.
long? Nothing for how long?
Oh,
what years?
About a year or so. Like nothing. You might hear a little every now and then or something, but not really.
She screamed herself out.
This manager said to me, I said, "Oh, she's been doing that," and the planner said to me, "Oh, can you please write that down because we want that on the document." And I went, "Yep, I'll do that." And the manager went, "Well, wait a minute." She said, "I don't want you to write that." And I said, "Why wouldn't you want me to write that?" And she said, "Well, if Jessie was to read that in the future, she might be offended." And I said to her, "Lady, if Jessie was to read that in the future, I'll be the happiest person on earth."
Unbelievable.
She's never been able to read. She
Can't
barely
converse.
spoke.
What is wrong with them?
The biggest phrase, the most words Jessie ever said. But that was on the front page of the document.
I can't
All of that.
believe these stories.
I looked at Garrett, and Garrett was, I think he was white. And I couldn't look at him anymore because I thought I was going to cry. And then, because I was so frustrated, and then I thought, in the cartoons when you see the steam coming out their ears, that's how I felt. I thought, I wonder if she can see it.
Wow.
But these are the things we've been through. Many things. Oh, and I said, okay, I don't understand the funding. So if, say, for example, if Jessie needed a new wheelchair, what part of the category, what category would that come out of, that funding? And she looked at me, she went, "Why would she need a new wheelchair?"
Of course. Go in the marketplace. They've got heaps on there.
And I said, well, it was just an example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But why would she need a new one? I went, I don't know, she might grow. Anyway, I can't get started on
things
this stuff.
wear out.
So
Go on. I think Andrew's been hanging out that pencil.
Listening to all your whole story and about how your whole life as a carer is evolved, revolves around the kids.
Yeah.
So that night at the charity ball, you just must have had a great night.
I had a great time.
And just like at least one night to yourself.
Yeah,
and,
it was fun.
Of course, raising money for the charity and stuff like that.
That's why we danced crazy.
Yeah, and just one more thing on that. Joyce Campbell, who is the lovely lady who brought you here today, and she organises the whole charity night. And so how do you and Joyce go back a little way? Or how do you know each other?
We go back to being 16 or 17.
Oh, besties.
Wow.
All right. Joyce
and we
is a
used to go
lovely
to the pub underage together.
and see
all sorts of bands. Angels.
They were the days.
Rose
Dragon.
Dragon, all of it.
I'm trying to think what else.
Skyhawks, Aussie Crawl.
Chisel,
Cold Chisel. Oh, and John Swan, I remember.
Swanee.
John
Great
Swan
voice.
used to stand at the end of the bar
Radiators.
and talk to me, and then I worked it there everybody worked
Had
at
a
the
great.
bar.
Jimmy and the Boys.
Do most people know that John Swan is Jimmy's brother?
Brother, yeah.
Not many
Jimmy
people
Barnes'
know.
brother.
That's right.
that's
Swanee.
He's a great guy.
Mate, and a wonderful voice.
Yes.
Outrageous voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy, John Swan. I've
Yes.
met him a few times.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
And also on that night, you talked about the Newtown Jets. Who was the bloke who was that player? And you and Joyce were talking about some bloke who used to play for the Newtown Jets.
Oh,
I know
Cole
him.
Murphy.
Cole Murphy.
That's why I let Cole Murphy play first grade.
Yeah.
Cole
legend.
Murphy's so funny. He's outrageous, that guy. we used to hang out all the time, and
he was like a cult figure for when he played with the Bears and the Jets. And
everywhere you went, he'd do something that everybody would be like, "Oh God, it's Cole again."
We're going to have to wrap this up, but before we do, no, don't say sorry.
Just interrupt you. Can we get just before we do wrap up? Can we get Cole Murphy on the podcast?
You should have asked.
I don't know.
Ask Cindy that after we finish.
Yeah. Sorry. And can I just quickly say one other thing?
I want you to say now. I want to hear from you.
Yep.
What you need from the NDIS, what all the carers need. What would you prefer to hear, see, and support? What support do you need?
Okay. Well, in regards to childhood dementia, our children need their equipment timely. They need it fast. Like, as I said, Jessie trialled a walker after she had stopped walking, and she walked right across the lounge room in it we've got a video of the biggest smile on her face. It was beautiful. And they took 12 months to get it. Yeah. She couldn't walk by the time we got it. Then they wanted it back. And we said, no, we'll give it to somebody who needs it. And then we said she needs a standing frame now because she didn't get her the walker in time. So then they said, we'll hire it for you, and then you can, when you get your funding, you can pay for it. Okay. So we hired it, and then it just kept going on and on and on, and they hadn't paid. Funding was there in her NDIS. They wouldn't release it. That didn't get released. And so we spent a lot of her funding on the hire. And then we spent full price, no money coming off that for the hire, full price for her standing frame so she can just simply stand like you or I. And this is the problem. These kids need, when they need equipment, they need it now because it saves skills. Saving skills saves lives. When I say that, I know we can't save them completely, but we can certainly make them be healthier for a longer period of time and enjoy things and just love all the things we love about life.
Yeah.
You know, they're so restricted with that.
And if any of our listeners want to donate money to the Childhood Dementia Initiative, they can just do that through their website.
Yes, they can, through their website.
And we'll put up the links to that.
Most definitely.
People, if they want to do that, they can do that.
Who looks after that money?
Not me, Ray.
Yeah. Not the bowling
not
club.
Not the bowling club.
No. But that's important.
Oh, it is important.
You know what I mean? Like,
it is important.
Gonna...
Because you know what this money is for, and it's... I never used to be able to say... I used to find it hard to say these things. I would always cry, but I think us as some parents of kids with childhood dementia, we've just learnt to deal with it now. It's a part of our life, is that these clinical trials, and when we get a cure or when we get a treatment before a cure, that won't save any of our children. None of the children living today.
Yes.
None of them.
Yeah.
But hopefully we will save the babies born tomorrow. And that's the goal.
But, Widow, you want to wrap it up? And just to say, if you want to donate, go. We'll put up the links to the website. Yes.
Mia.
Yes. And
Childhood Dementia Initiative. And mate, even, look, if you can support the Care Factor Charity Ball next year, we'll be there.
I'll be there.
Mate, I am so... Look, people see me in the streets and they go, Widow, legend. I'm not a legend. You guys are legends, mate. Yeah. What you do and the lack of support, I'm disgusted in. Some of the things I've heard you say today, we live in this country where we have everything.
Yeah.
There should not be this red tape bullshit or investigating you to make sure...
Oh, yeah, I know.
Like, I know there's people ripping the place off, but, mate, have a look at you guys. I mean, you're just angels.
And you're not alone. You're probably representing...
I know, you're shaking your head now when I said that.
How many people are you representing that are in the same boat as you are?
Oh, lots of people. That's another thing in itself. When it, sorry. When it comes to...
Part 2 coming up.
When it comes to... not just childhood dementia, but the disability side of it. We have a carers group that we go to just so we can meet so we just chat to other carers. We've known them for quite a long. Do you know most of the carers that are looking after all these medical needs babies, all these really disabled children are in their 70s?
Wow.
Because there's no carers and nobody wants to do
this. It's like
this.
people going to gigs now. They're all in their 70s.
Exactly.
Well, talking about going to gigs, I think after this podcast we need to go to the local bowling club, wherever that is, have a few schooners.
They've all closed their doors.
See if they've got any money left.
And a bit of lunch and some schooners.
They are. And you know what? And we keep throwing our hands in the air saying we want to help, but we need to have more space. They've told us you need more space to do any more. And we don't have that space. And we're willing to pay for as much, but we have to borrow more money to do that. So we will do it, but we're always looking to find ways to help fund it. Do you know what I mean?
Because there's a lot of shows on TV that'll do that stuff, won't they? Like,
yeah.
It's one of the more... We've done a few podcasts now. This has been a very sobering podcast. Yeah. We sort of hear that things happen like this, and why did someone need to wait 12 months to get a walker?
And
come on.
And on the foster care side of it, there's over 4,500 children living in hotels, motels and caravans with youth workers caring for them because there's no foster carers, but we're here.
To the government of New South Wales and Australia, get your shit together for these people.
One last thing, Ray, you know of a couple that we won't name them, but they were applying to be foster carers and they got knocked back.
Yeah. I won't name the place. No. They wanted to adopt. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's a whole.
What adopt?
I didn't realise you had a whole.
You can foster to adopt.
Yeah, it was too hard because they were making too much money and it's just really, look, the thing is, I looked at the age pension and they gave me a 50-page document to fill in. Yeah. And after that, they gave me another 28-page document. So you know how you're going about the forms. I worked in the public service for 30 years, so I know what it's like. But do you know I've had to wait 12 months for my swimming pool? How bad's that?
Where's my swimming pool, eh?
How's that? Cindy Lorenz. I'm going to say it again. Absolute angel. Thank you for what you're doing.
That was fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank you.
We'll do it again.
Yeah,
Cindy, look at me. Thank you.
Yeah.
From
welcome.
all of us here.
You're welcome.
That information needs to go out.
Lorenzo.
We love you and we can't wait to help you out. I'm going to try and get Albo's number. I know Anthony Albanese. You're on the board at South with him. And send him this podcast.
Yeah.
Or the Minister for Health or someone.
Great idea.
Mate,
Great idea.
Someone.
I am so disappointed in some of the things I've heard from you today. But again, I'm going to say from all of us and everybody who's listening, thank you. We love you.
Yes.
You're welcome.
And what you're doing is just amazing. Angels.
Thank you.
Absolute
we love
angels.
doing it. We love it. It is. It's our life.
All right, thanks again, Cindy. We're over it until we get to you next time. Yes.
How's that?